Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all well. Today we're going to be continuing with our Riven playthrough. Now, I should say that since my absolutely abysmal performance last time, I have looked up some hints on the current puzzle I'm on. Largely, it just confirmed all the things that I had been suspecting already. But that's still been very useful since it's added confidence and clarity to what I'm doing. Whereas before I was still having to allow for the fact that the things I were assuming to be true might not be. So it's narrowed down the possibilities a lot. The most important piece of information I gained was that there is in fact another island. Because I remember last session I was talking about all the evidence for and against this proposition. But I looked it up. Apparently, well, I say I looked it up. Whilst looking up hints on this puzzle, I discovered that there is in fact another island we don't have access to, which is apparently referred to as the prison island. In retrospect, that does make perfect sense, because of course we know that Gehn's captured Catherine, but we haven't been able to find her anywhere. Makes sense that he would have a that Gehn would use the island that has floated off far, far away to keep his prisoners. So, with that said, the question then becomes, which of the five islands is in fact the prison island? Based on our observations before, we know for a fact this is the village, we know for a fact this is the surveillance island, which is the island we're on now, and we know that this is what I'm calling Woodchipper Island. So the candidates are these two. Now logically, you'd think that the prison island would be this one, the little one. That would make the most sense, since if we assume that this diagram is vaguely geographically correct, and so far as we've been able to tell it is vaguely geographically correct, then of course it would make sense that this would be the far off island, since it's the furthest away to begin with, and as I observed before, being the island which is least above sea level, it would also make it harder to see from a long way away, which is exactly what Catherine's diary entry says, that it's too far away to be seen. So all that would figure. The only problem with that is that when we were checking where the pipes were going, relative to when we were in the power generation room, and we were checking where all the 5 pipes went, the pipe that was destined for the littlest island seemed to go to a tiny little outcropping, like, one of those, just off the coast of the island we were on, which seems strange, since, clearly that isn't directly going to the prison island. But I suppose that probably is what's going on. I don't really see much other alternative other than the fact that that particular pipe must be very misleading. Perhaps it goes to that little outcropping and then goes and then carries on to somewhere else? Or perhaps the pipes are just mislabeled in the diagram, I'm not sure. But I think that is by far and away the most likely explanation. I think it unlikely that this is the prison island. It makes far more sense for this to be the island with by the powers generated. Which presumably would that make that the... Which one is that? Is that the dome that you can see off the coast? The one I was talking about on the outcropping, is that it? Or is that the temple? The reason that's relevant, incidentally, is because I understand from the hints that we're supposed to place the fire marbles where the domes are. Now, I didn't look up what it meant by domes, but I can only assume it means the same domes that contain the books. So I do actually need to figure out where in this topography the dome is. The dome that's on the little outcropping. And I can only guess that last week I probably did have one of the marbles in the correct position at one point, but presumably you have to get them all right in one go for it to do anything. That's my best guess. I'm guessing that my assumption last week that I could do them one at a time is probably just wrong. So that's where we are. Essentially, I now need to figure out the exact position of all the domes in the topography, and I also need to figure out the colours. Yes, and that isn't helpful because, or rather, that there's still some open questions. So even after I got the hints, there's still some open questions in the form of things such as the fact I haven't the slightest clue what am I trying to say? I haven't the slightest clue where the sixth marble is supposed to go. Sorry, that I lost my train of thought there for a second. That's what I was trying to say. Because there's 6 marbles and I only know of 4 domes. I can assume there is going to be another dome on the prison island that I don't have access to. I presume I just have to try all combinations. That's incidentally another reason why I strongly suspect that it's the little island that's the prison island, because that only leaves 25 locations where the dome could be in a 5x5 grid. So again, I could brute force that, which I think is probably what I'm supposed to do, because I don't think the game's given me enough information to work it out other than as an educated guess. So that's where we are. I need to try and figure out the exact location of all the domes on the grid, and I need to figure out the colours. Oh wait, that's probably the dome, isn't it? In all likelihood. Okay, that simplifies it a lot. Alright, I am going to imagine then that all the domes are probably made obvious in the topography. I doubt any of the them are made particularly hard to see. That's my guess anyway. Just from a game design standpoint, that makes sense. Alright, so let's give it a go. First things first, I'm going to have to iterate over all 5 of these islands and see if I can locate the dome. And last week I wrote down the symbol for each of the 4 domes I have access to. The symbol that was on the rotating dome on the outside, which are currently down. And from that I'm going to have to make an educated guess at what all the colours are. Where was the dome on this one? Oh, it's going to be in there, isn't it? Of course it's going to be in there. Because when you go down because I should say this island is Woodchipper Island, which is it's shaped like a big crater. When you go into the cliff face, and then you take there's two stairways you can take. One that goes up and to your left as you look into the cliff face, and one that goes to your right. As you go down the right one, you end up where the dome is, and from in there you can see the sky. Therefore, I conclude that that little divot there in the middle, that must be the opening which lets the sky in. Okay, so how am I going to do this actually? How am I going to write this down on my notes? Because I'm going to have to go back to the what's it called? The master grid on the Temple Island and input all this. So if you'll bear with me just a second. Yes, I think I'll write it this way. Not that you can see my notes. And where is that? That's one in from the left and 3 down from the top. That is, if I suppose that would be the coordinate if the top left was 0, 0. If you're going from 1, 1, then that would be 2, 4. Right, that one's recorded. So, let's keep going, I guess. So, again, working on the assumption that the developers have made these as easy to see as possible. Because I remember last week I was spending quite a lot of time trying to figure out exactly how the topography from ground level on the starter island mapped to this grid, and I just couldn't figure it out. You know, probably just a shortcoming of myself, but I couldn't do it. But I don't think I need to. I think that's almost certainly supposed to be the... I could be wrong, but I think that's almost certainly supposed to be the dome. I do think the developers have probably tried to make it as easy as possible. Okay, so what is that one's coordinate? Right, that's... Oh, that's easy. That's the top left. So, mark that one down. And we'll keep going. Okie doke, let's carry on. So again, I was going by the assumption that all the domes have been made as easily visible as possible. So I don't know what one this one is, do I? So I suppose I'll just I'll just use a question mark symbol for this one. Because as I said, there's two domes, I think it is, I don't know the colour for. No, it's worse than that, isn't it? There's one dome I don't know the colour for, and then there's an extra marble. And I have no idea what the extra marble is for, or if I even have to use it. Okay, let's keep going. I've written that one down at least. Oops. Right, where were we? Which island is this one again? This is the island we're on. This is Surveillance Island. So it must be over here then. Oh yeah, I can see it. So, which was the symbol for this one? That was it. Okie doke. Okay, so it's right along the left hand side and it's one down. Okay, I've got that one marked. Okie doke, and just the village to go. It is frustrating in a way though. If I'm right that I have to get all the marbles in the correct position before any of it will work, then what am I to do about this sixth marble? Maybe it isn't maybe it isn't used. I didn't check in Gehn's journal to see if the colours I have are consecutive or not. Of course, I'm assuming that Gehn himself put them in the correct order, in so much as they have an order. I was assuming that he'd written them down in red, orange, yellow, etc. order. I'm trying to remember where the dome is. The dome's in the jungle, isn't it? Right up the top. So where would that place it? Is it around here? It could be, couldn't it? There was a little almost hemisphere in there. I know the treetops are overlook the lagoon, but that's not actually that informative, because the lagoon's so massive it dominates the island anyway. The only thing I find slightly odd is if that was the dome I saw before. Ah, is that the dome? That looks like a much better candidate, doesn't it? If that's the case, then this would be the side with the cable cars, I think. The cable car, rather. It's a pity I don't have a... I think that's got to be it, doesn't it? Especially given what I was saying before, that from a game design standpoint, I really think the developers would have made it as easy as possible to identify the domes in the topographical map. Okay, so where is that? That is there on the map. The little diagram I'm drawing. Okay, and what's the coordinate here? I think this is 3 along and 1 down? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 along, 1 down. Yep, that seems to be the case. That's my guess anyway. So, 3 along, 1 down. Okay, that actually narrows it down a lot. If I assume for the time being that the 6th marble isn't used, which I don't know, it's just a guess, but if I'm if that is the case, then actually all the information I've just gathered narrows it down to only two possibilities. Since I know the positions where all the marbles should go, okay, I'm also assuming that the order of the colours listed in Gehn's journal are in the order of the rainbow. That's my other assumption. If that's true, if they're in the order of the rainbow, then that narrows it down to two possibilities. I'm going to know the position and colour of 4 marbles, and there's going to be one marble where there's 2 possibilities, and I won't know which one it is until I try it. That is, fingers crossed, assuming that the 6th marble isn't used. So, let's pay a quick visit to Gehn's journal on our way through here. I've got this copy down elsewhere, but since we're literally walking through here, ooh, that's interesting. These two symbols look almost identical. I can see that that one's got a vertical line and that one's got a little dot. But I don't think on the symbols that I even saw on the rotating domes that they even distinguished between the two. I'm pretty sure it was just the rest of the lines, the circle and either a horizontal line, a vertical line, or two little curved sections. So I'm not sure that these would actually be distinguished. Still, for the sake of having everything together on one page, I'll copy this out again quickly, and then we'll head to the apparatus and see what we can do. What was I thinking? That one thing that is particularly remarkable about this is that since I don't think it... One thing that's particularly remarkable is I didn't encounter this problem before now. So I know for a fact that... Yes, I only have one example of one of these. Oh, that means strictly speaking, I don't know which way round it is. So that actually increases it to 4 possibilities. Because for the dome on the starter island, I had a symbol that looked a bit like this, but I don't have any way to differentiate them. So there's 2 possibilities there as well. Okay, that's annoying, but not fatal. That means that in total there's 4 possibilities that I have to test. Was there... Hold on, was there a sensible order to this? No, I don't think so. I'm just thinking, if I were to look at the islands and where they lie, could I deduce anything? And I don't think I can. No, I don't think so. I don't think the five islands form any obvious sequence, which I can exploit. Right, let's go. Right, let's put these back. Orange next. So, let's start with the ones that I'm really quite confident about. Sorry, I'm just copying out the order of the colours onto my notes. I realise it's the just the order of the rainbow, but when I can just at a glance look at what colour I think each symbol is, that makes things a bit quicker. So I'm thinking purple for the dome, which was on Woodchipper Island. I believe that's correct, the way I've got it here. Yep, that looks to be correct. Right, next. This would be the... This would be green. And it would be... here and here, I think. Is that right? That looks to be right. Okay, that's slightly clearer to read. Where was I? So yes, definitely there, definitely there. Okay. Next we move on to... Okay, the next one I don't... Sorry, that... I should have said that corresponds to the starter island. So that's the... No, it doesn't. That corresponds... Yes, it does. That's the starter island, so the island we're on right now. The next one would be Prison Island, but I don't know what colour that's supposed to be, so we won't do that yet. Then we have the Surveillance Island, and that corresponds to orange, it would seem. That's down here. Here, I believe. And now we have the village, and there's two possibilities for this, and it's either yellow or it's red. Oh, I was wrong when I said there were 4 possibilities, because the possibilities overlap. So I think there's only... Yeah, there's 3 possibilities. It's 3, choose 2. So yeah, there's in fact only 3 possibilities I have to test. But I know that the next one is either yellow or red. I just don't know which one it is. And of the 2 remainder... they are the 2 possibilities for the Prison Island marble. So, village. So, let's go with red to begin with. It's going to be somewhere around here. It's going to be about there, we think. Okie doke. Was I right when I said that it's only 3 possibilities? I could be wrong. Let me see. This could be yellow or this could be red. And no matter which one I choose, there's 2 possibilities for the other one. So no, it is 4 possibilities. I was talking rubbish for a moment there. So now let's go back to looking at the prison island. I know the position. I just don't know what colour it is. So it's in this section of the grid here. Okay, so this is one of the possibilities. Am I happy with that? I think I'm happy with that. Yep. Okay, let's try it. Oh, that's interesting. The game's actually rendered it in that state. Hold on, I just want to test something quickly. If I go back... Oh. It does seem to dynamically update. That's interesting. I suppose that's not too hard to do. I mean, if they can have it, you know, draw bitmaps at the right positions to overlaid in the right way to make this screen, I suppose they can do it at an angle here. I see no reason why not. Hello, Trumpet. Oh, good morning then. How are you? Right, nothing obvious has happened, so that probably means I've got it wrong. But let's try anyway. Are you well, Trumpet? Right, I'm not expecting this to have worked, but I should be diligent and check anyway. I think that was the combination. Getting back into the work groove for the new week. Oh dear. Do you enjoy your work, or is it just a frustrating nuisance that has to be borne? You don't have to answer that question if you think it's too personal. Oh, you enjoy it for the most part. That's alright then. Okay, let's try this again. So, can I? Oh, I can't even put them in the wrong position, even if I wanted to. That suggests even more strongly to me that the order in which the colours are listed in Gehn's journal correspond to the order here. It sure is going to be sad if I try all 4 possibilities and none of them have worked. Did I push the white button? There's a white button? Oh. Okay, that would have been nice to have known last week. Thank you, Trumpet. So let's see if that's worked as intended or not. Because of course I don't know what it does if it works and what it does if it hasn't worked, so... This doesn't appear to have changed, so therefore I'm guessing This has changed dramatically. Wow. I haven't saved recently, no. Me save now. Thank you for the reminder. This does raise a slight, wow, this has spawned in strangely, this age. Mountains on top of mountains. There's a slight problem though. I don't know what happens if I put the marbles in the wrong position. What I mean is, am I going to end up shooting myself in the foot if, for example, this particular book works perfectly but another book somewhere else doesn't? Am I going to end up finding myself trapped or something like that? You know, if, for example, I wasn't able to get back to the linking book on the other end of this book, but I was able to get to a different one which now isn't powered. Is it worth my going back and checking? If the marbles are in the wrong position, these domes just wouldn't have power for the books. Okay, so is it the case that if one marble is wrong, none of the books work? Or is it the case that if I get a marble wrong, that book doesn't work, but the rest would still work? If you don't mind my asking. Any marble wrong means no power for any books. Wow. Okay, that means I just lucked out, because as I explained earlier in the stream, I had narrowed it down to one of 4 possibilities, and I don't think the game had given me enough information to narrow it down any more than that. So it's just complete coincidence that of the 4 possibilities it could have been, that was the one the correct one happened to be the one I was on when I hit the white button. Well then, I see absolutely no reason not to rush on in then. Charge in like cavalry. Really, I should be able to narrow the solution down to 50-50. That's interesting. The reason I thought I couldn't narrow it down to 50-50 is because there were 6 marbles in total. There were 5 domes. And I knew the colours for 4 of the domes, which meant that one of the domes had 2 possibilities, but it was worse than that because 2 of the colour symbols, specifically the one for red and the one for yellow, I don't think I could distinguish because they both look like a partially open eye. I know in Gehn's journal one of them has like a vertical line in the middle and the other one has a dot, but I don't think those were showing up on the rotating domes. So the problem was that I effectively had 2... I knew the positions of all of the domes, but there were 2 domes which could have had one of 2 colours. Anyway, I guess that's all moot now anyway, since I seem to have solved it. So, let's charge on in. Ah. I must say, this hasn't gone fantastically so far. Oh, I should have been able to distinguish between red and yellow. Interesting.
I apologize for the cage. I'm afraid this situation has often required of me a more primitive code of conduct than I might otherwise have chosen. I am Gehn. I assume you've heard of me. Yes. Well, I suspect you have acquired some false information of who I am now. Not that my son would have lied to you about me. No, not Atris. It's just that, well, I'm sure he believes me to still be the depraved father I once was. Yes. I even tried to kill him once. God, if I had accomplished that, who knows what I would have become. A great father indeed, who tries to murder his own son. Thankfully, he trapped me on age 5, a prison of my own creation. No books, no precious inks, no ages to link to, nothing but my own foolish ambitions. That was 30 years ago. 30 years, 30 lifetimes, what does it matter? No sentence could be too harsh for the man I was. But I have changed. To be sure, the deeds of my past can never be completely atoned for, but my mission was an honorable one. I'm sorry, this is all a bit awkward. It's been a long time since I've attempted to persuade anyone of my intentions. Most of the people here have already made their minds up about me one way or another. I myself do not trust the words of most men, so I don't expect you to believe me. In the end, though, you may discover that I do have more than mere words to offer. Atris's choice of punishment has been hard on the people of Riven, and many have suffered because of it. The island has been steadily decaying for years, but according to my most recent measurements, it appears that the 5th age has entered its final days. Unless the villagers can be relocated soon, the island will collapse entirely and everyone will perish. It has taken me a long time to do it, but it appears that finally I'll be able to make some substantial amends to my past transgressions, especially in... Well, I'm afraid I've had some trouble with Catherine and the moiety. In any society, there will always be a small percentage of the population with rebellious tendencies. Before Catherine appeared, the moiety, as they call themselves, had been relatively harmless. I mean, the natives here are a fairly violent people by nature, but I'd almost come to accept their presence. It seemed inevitable under the circumstances. Upon Catherine's return, however, their violence intensified considerably. It seems she's become some sort of religious savior to them. And as far as I can tell, she's come to believe this herself. So I've had no alternative. I had to separate her from her people. I must admit, though, that my concerns were not entirely for her safety alone. The actions of Catherine and the moiety have put my own life at risk on numerous occasions. consequently, the lives of all the people here. Therefore, I must ask you to refrain from any attempt to free her. Although I'm sure Atreus desires it. Indeed, he must desire it with all his heart. But he is completely unaware of her recent state. Which brings me to the point of all of this. The linking book you brought with you. You're very fortunate to have recovered it. If I may. Thank you.
Is there no game audio at all?
Perhaps it would be best if you went through first.
No thank you.
You may need some time to decide. That is reasonable. Until then, as a token of my good intentions, I will allow you free access to my linking books, crude though they may be, and to the rest of the Fifth Age. Please understand, there is nothing I want more than a chance to resolve matters between Atreus and myself, especially in light of what has become of Catherine. But unless you are willing to demonstrate to me that your intentions are honorable, I cannot risk it. The sanctuary I've been writing for the islanders is nearly complete. After all these years, it would be a shame if I were unable to finish it. The work I am doing is quite demanding. Please don't signal me unless you've decided to use the book. The switch will reset itself once you link from here.
Interesting. Also, it's nice to meet you, Neurovac. Okay, I assume I can activate these from afar. What's that? 5, if I recall correctly? I'm doing that off the top of my head, as opposed to from my notes. That would make sense, because he said he was going to give me access to the entirety of the Fifth Age. Oh, goodness me, that's a long way back in my notes. Yes, 5. Right, what else do we have here? Another 5. Do these go to different places in 5? Right, that's the Temple Island, isn't it? Five again. Oh yeah, we can see from the front of them. They've got the island shapes on them. Ah, we can get to the prison island. So that would take me to the village. That would take me to the surveillance island. That would take me to the wood chipper island. and that one must be the starter island, I think. Have I got that right? Yes. Well, then the obvious thing to do would be to check out the prison island. Now, what did we make of Gehn's little speech there? One thing we need to bear in mind is that there's no particular reason to side with Atris and Catherine automatically. Because the thing is, up to this point, we've only heard we predominantly heard their perspective on things. I know we came across Gehn's journal, and there have been a lot of references to terrible things that Gehn's done, but I don't think anything specific. I'm pretty sure the worst thing we know that he'd done is deforest the island of Riven. And, you know, depending upon his motivations, that's not necessarily so evil. If it was necessary to save the people, then that's not necessarily evil. But it's very notable that Gehn himself seemed to displayed regret, which in a way is one of the... It means he himself thinks he's culpable for something. So unfortunately that does rather support Catherine and Atris's argument that he's not to be trusted. He may not have done himself any favours there. As bad as it may be to say, honestly, I think it would have been more convincing had he tried to claim that they were completely making all this up. I'm really in no position to tell whether or not he's a changed man, because I still think I don't know what it is that was so awful that he did, other than being bad at writing ages, it would seem. We know that he was trying to restore the Denis civilization somehow, and that was linked to the evil he was doing. But again, we don't know specifically at this point what it was he was doing. So yeah, I suppose my conclusion from that little speech of his is that... oh yeah, he did say he tried to kill Atris once, but on the other hand, Atris left him on this island to die. So... it's... I don't think either of them necessarily come out in a good light. So yeah, I suppose in conclusion what I would say is I think that speech, if anything, left me more wary of him than, or more suspicious of him than I was initially. Anyway, let's get on with playing the game. And to be fair, as far as we're aware, Atris killed his sons after they tried to kill him. So again, I don't think anyone in this family is coming out in a particularly brilliant light. Catherine, perhaps the most, comes out looking the best, but she's had at least some involvement with the moiety that's also seemed to be violent, almost certainly homicidal. Fair enough, Gehn. I just thought I'd provide some insight into my thought process at the moment. Miss, the 5-game look into a dysfunctional family. Yes. I mean, I don't know what the main character's background is supposed to be, but I feel like they've rather stumbled upon all this, and have no prior connections to any of this, which is why I say I wouldn't just trust Atlas, because he's Atlas, because we really don't have much to go on to know how trustworthy he is. Oh, thank you. Thank you, you too. Right. How does this thing work? Is it some sort of combination lock? It's some sort of combination lock, isn't it? I'm going to quickly leaf through my notes, because there's a good chance that I may have come across the solution to this before, written it down and just forgotten. If you'd like to read, if you like to read and are curious about more of the lore, I'd encourage you to read 2 novels, the Book of Atlas and the Book of Tiana, after you complete Riven. That is. Thank you for the recommendation. I mean, I'm not completely against the idea. I do tend to have a great big pile of books that I wish I could find time to read. So, if I'm brutally honest, it's probably not going to be top of my list, but I do appreciate the recommendation. I don't think I have a copy of the... Assuming this is a combination lock, I don't think I have a copy of the combination. The most logical place for it to be, I'd have thought, would either be in the Catherine's journal or Gehn's journal. Those are by far and away the most likely places it would have ended up. Oh yeah, I got the combination for the star field, didn't I, to unlock it. And had a brief look in there last time. That is Atlas's journal, so that's no use. Just leafing through this quite quickly to see if any combinations leap out to me. If it's actually written in prose, then of course I'd miss it. That's for viewing the star field. That's the combination. That is the other combination. That's the age of the moiety. That's how their fancy books work. She might have put it in the little letter she sent to me. In fact, I bet she did, because one of her servants managed to get to her on the prison island, clearly, for that letter to have reached me, so they must have known what the combination was. So it would have been daft for her not to have included the combination in that letter. I write quickly from my prison. Nalak will return your book, which the moiety intercepted upon your arrival. After questioning her, I've concluded it was written by Atras for a very specific purpose. Gehn will desire to use it, although he may have suspicions. Given that this letter could have been intercepted, she possibly should have left that part out. If you can find my... Assuming it is from her, I remember comparing the handwritings and concluding it probably was. If you can find my prison, you will still need the combination to rescue me. Gehn keeps it in his office. Then, I assume, we've to signal Atras. I think I know how it might be done. But don't signal him before I am released. Okay? Well, I must say, the game isn't giving me much choice in the matter of who I side with. So, let's make our way back. Make our way back to Gehn's office. Identify the combination. Get Catherine out of there. And then I believe to signal Atras we're supposed to send the telescope into the starfield by removing the little catch that stops it from doing so. There seem to be some suggestions that that would do something truly awful on an island-wide scale, which even Atras would notice with the broken linking book. At least that's my memory. Where was Gehn's office? It would be on Woodchipper Island, which I believe was the square, the 2x2 square. There we go. Oh, you can go visit Catherine without the code. Interesting. Had I realised that, I probably would have done so. But since I'm here now, I may as well go back for the code anyway. Thank you for letting me know, though. Right, so we're looking for something which indicates the order to activate 3 buttons. So it's going to be perhaps in some sort of ternary number system, maybe? I could go through his journal again. But when she said he keeps it in his office... Oh, or did she... I remember... Or I'm fairly certain I spoke about this before. Does she mean his island on Riven, or his island in the age that I've forgotten the number of? If I ever knew the number of. The hostile world. Problem is, I don't have any way out of the cage if it's on his office in that age. And I hardly think he has it framed and hung up on his wall for all to see. Let's see, he wouldn't have... yes, his new office on that age. Let me see, if he's using a base 25 number system, then Hold on, where's the numbers? Here's the numbers. That's 9, followed by 8. So that's 25 times 9, which is 225 plus 8. So that's 233. 233rd world, would that be? I should be able to go back and check that. Yes, it ends with RD. 233rd world. Of age, I should say. Just write that down for future reference. Now, let's see if I can find the combination anywhere. That's to access the domes. I don't see it there. I don't see it here. I'm going to quickly head back to the 233rd world and see if he has in fact framed it and put it on the wall. If not, I'll go back here and do a more thorough search, which may mean reading the whole journal from the start again. There's writing up there, but I can't read it, so that's not much good. Ah, that must be for incinerating books. Doesn't help me release Catherine, though. No, I'm not seeing it here. Maybe if I visit Catherine, she'll be able to suggest a way I can break out of this cell. And once I can do that, I can walk up and read his books up there, which may have the combination in. Could be wrong, just a theory. Let's try that though. Okay, so I should be able to visit her somehow. be through here. That does nothing. Aha!
יפה, עדיק. You made it. But how'd you get past Gehn? He must really believe I've gone mad. I know what he's doing. He's watching you. He's waiting for you to make a mistake. He's hoping you'll lead him back to Dunny. You can't let Gehn... Atris sent you to save me. But if Gehn gets back to Dunny, he'll kill him. I think I know how to signal Atris, but it's going to take both of us. You'll have to trap Gehn before you can get the combination. Be careful. Go then. If you won't help me, then I have nothing more to say.
Well, that's not overly helpful. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Grab the book out of Gen's hands and, like, physically force it over his head? From within the cage? And even if I did, I don't see how that would then let me get out of the cage. Since presumably it can only be opened from his side. Oh well. At least she acknowledged the fact that the combination isn't currently available. So I don't have to waste time searching through his office on Riven for something that isn't there. How am I gonna do this? Because Gehn made it quite clear that he wants me to try and use the book first. Ooh. Ah. Here's an interesting question. When I came across Atris's sons before, I could clearly see them in the book. And I know that they're trapped in the space between ages. But how precisely does that work? If someone didn't want to be seen whilst within that space, could they prevent themselves from being seen? And the reason that's significant is because how would Gehn distinguish between I've gone to Danae and I'm there safely and I've gone into the book and I'm hiding? Because if he thought I had safely gone through, he would presumably try to follow me, and as we read previously from Atris's journal, that would then displace me. And it might even displace me on his side of the cage. Okay, it seems a bit risky, since I'm relying on the idea that I'll be able to hide once I've gone into the book. but I don't see any other solution. So, let's see how this goes.
I'm relieved you've returned. I thought perhaps you had decided against it. Here, I shall follow you directly.
Wonderful. It worked. Not quite sure how, but it worked. Let's see see how he's doing. Oh, that's interesting. You can't see into that book. It just continues to show that is, you can't see the person trapped in there. It continues to show the age on the other side, which is different to the books that Atreus used to trap his sons before. Although that was a very, very clever thing. Very clever idea. That little innovation. What have we got here? The way the trap books worked wasn't exactly consistent originally. I see. So I don't actually know where this goes to. This might be the book he was working on, or it might be something else. I'm sure it's very interesting to find out what that does when I pull that lever, but I should probably restrict myself to just exploring to begin with. Wouldn't want to accidentally pull any self-destruct switches or anything like that. Now this is interesting. I wonder if those are his parents. Or were his parents. Another journal. Okay. I start this latest journal with astounding news. Catherine has returned to the 5th age, and though it sets my teeth on edge to say it, she has also vanished as quickly as she appeared, stolen from me by the rebels. As my guard tells it, she linked into the Fisher Plateau cage, as I'd guessed, when suddenly he was set upon by a band of rebels who darted him and spirited her away. I suspect the truth of the matter was that he was so dumbfounded at actually witnessing someone linking after all this time that he presented an easy target for whichever rebel had happened by at that moment. The darned luck of it. He did get a good enough look at her, though, to verify that it was indeed Catherine. He also claims that he inspected all of her belongings and found no linking book on her person, a fact which, if true, makes the question of why she's returned here all the more puzzling. While I am sick with frustration at having lost the only quarry that Cage has ever caught, I am also filled with hope. She may yet provide me with a way back to Denis. It is true that I have managed, despite overwhelming odds, to break free of the confines of the Fifth Age and resume my mission to save my culture from extinction. But I fear that unless I am able to regain access to the vast resources that lie in the city's ruins, the task of reconstructing that great civilization will be impossible. If Catherine did bring a linking book with her, then I am halfway there. If not, then she is trapped in the Fifth Age, and I can assume that my emotionally crippled son will soon be along to rescue her. Either way, it is crucial to my plans that I find her soon. Her presence here now forces me to take the rebels more seriously. I should never have permitted them to survive this long. Once again, the great that looks like Wask. The Great Wask has demonstrated its usefulness to me. This past week, the villagers have been most difficult to manage. Apparently, they have learned of Catherine's arrival, and their fear of the mythic beast has been all that has kept them in line. Had I known how truly useful these prodigious creatures would prove to be, I would have perhaps captured more of them while the local population was still plentiful, although, to be sure, if these disturbances continue, my current pets will be in no danger of perishing for lack of nourishment. Well, that's a bit macabre. Macabre. I didn't realise he had such pets. The search for Catherine continues. I now deeply regret my mistake of having even taught these primitive people anything at all about the books. It seems that with each passing day I more sorely realise the extent to which they were not ready for that knowledge, not even in the simplified manner in which I had presented it to them. Their minds, adapted only to the exceptionally menial tasks of village life, were incapable of comprehending the art in all its complexity, and thus were unable to extract the essential underlying principles that are ironically so elegantly simple. It is obvious that much of the discord that exists between us stems from their failure to grasp the full meaning of the information I gave them. If they'd been able to gain even the smallest glimpse of the future I'd planned for them, then this conflict would not exist. The minds of children are much more malleable. With the proper instruction, they have developed a more appropriate posture towards the culture that gave them their lives. At times, they take to it almost as if they had a bit of Denis blood in them. Given the natives' inborn limitations, however, I am quite careful that none gain a level of understanding that would permit them to sin against their future, the way that Catherine did. How foolish I was to think that she could contain such knowledge responsibly, when it was quite clear that my own son could not. Atris, still he remains one of the greatest disappointments of my life. I should never have left him with my mother. By the time I'd returned for him, he had already been poisoned as to all thoughts of the Denis. Perhaps it was the only way that she could rationalize the fact that she had been responsible for the collapse of their civilization. So much destruction, so many great lives lost. The guilt must have been unbearable. I do have vague recollections of the love she had for my father and for our world, but ultimately she was an outsider with an ignorance of the Dani, whose ignorance of the Dani became the catalyst for their demise. If I am able to rebuild our culture, and in the process correct such crucial weaknesses, then perhaps what she did was ultimately necessary in order that a new era of prosperity might someday come to pass. I don't know the circumstances of this, but it does strike me that they must have had a reasonably fragile culture if one person who was ignorant of that culture but part of that society was able to destroy all of it. Anyway, these last few weeks I have found myself frequently beset by images from the past. As I stood in the schoolroom today, I was reminded of my own childhood, the years I spent in the Bookmakers Guild, Father's immense pride at each of my small accomplishments there. He was an important man in the Dani world, but I can't bear to think of him for long. It's too much. I was too young to see such a thing. Interesting. I've got her. Late last night I received word that Catherine was in the village attempting to persuade the people to join her. I lost 2 good men in the process, but I would have paid 100 times that number for such a prize. She's been taken to the prison island, where I've been attempting to gain some insight as to the reason for her presence here. I've had to fight the all but constant impulse to put her on the gallows. She has adopted the most infuriating stance of only answering my questions, when she answers them at all, in her native tongue. Even so, she is a poor liar, and I am now quite certain that her return to Riven was unintentional, and that she brought no linking book with her. As far as her unwillingness to share with me the location of the moiety, we shall see. Without their leader, however, they are once again powerless against me. If Catherine's coming here was indeed an accident, that's interesting. So he's assuming that one person was responsible for a great deal. Strikes me as a little bit arrogantly contemptuous of the natives, though we've seen quite a lot of that already. If Catherine's coming here was indeed an accident, then Atris is bound to come for her. That is a given. The question I must now consider is, how will he do it? It is likely that his hesitation has been due, at least in part, to this dilemma. One way or another, though, he'll have to bring a linking book to get to Danae. There is no other way. It's late and I cannot sleep. I've lost so much in my life. My people, my father, my son, and you, my wife, Keta. You were the only true kindness I have ever known. Watching you flicker there in the images, I sometimes wonder if you were real, if I could restore your life with my pen, I would do so in an instant, and leave the rest of the world to their own wretched fate. Darn these savages. I would be well advised to leave them all in the 5th Age and begin again with a clean sheet of paper. A stranger's arrived in Riven, with a linking book to Danae, and once again my useless minion was overtaken by the rebels. From what little I could decipher from his muddled explanation, it apparently occurred sometime this morning. The cage has been damaged, but it is no matter. Everything I need is here now. Atris is certainly behind this, yet how could he be so foolish as to send someone here with a linking book. Such blatancy is unlike him. Could it be that he has had a change of heart? After all these years, is he finally letting his poor old father go? No, he's only after one thing. Perhaps he should find her. For now, I need only to wait and observe. Very interesting. One thing I noticed is the same guard was set upon twice by the rebels, it would seem, and both times survived, it would seem. So their darts... I do hope that's not a grenade. No, that appears to be some sort of timekeeping device. What was I thinking? So it would seem that the rebels prefer to use non-lethal methods, which I must say does paint Catherine in a very good light, and by extension, Atros. Though we know relatively little about him. Well, about his morals anyway. Ah, that's one of those imaging machines, isn't it? I wonder if this is going to be his wife.
Tagamem, san botegan shem, fasi.
Yes, I must say, there does seem to be a theme here of Gehn being quite contemptuous of life, especially lives he considers to be inferior, and Catherine at least being... there being some evidence to suggest that she is considerate. So again, that does speak to if we have to take a side, we should probably side with Catherine and Atros. Oh, that's interesting. That won't open. Let's have a quick save here. See what this does. Ah, is this going to open the cage? Okay, that's going to make my life a lot easier. Right, now Catherine said that he keeps the combination in his office, not in his bedroom, in his office. Of course, I can't be sure that information is 100% up to date. He could have moved it or destroyed it, but assuming she is right, then I'd expect it to be around here somewhere. If this is one of those furnaces, which I don't know, but it could well be, let's try turning it off and having a look in there. Good, nothing terrible's happened yet. Perhaps it isn't one of those furnaces. I wonder what that's done. Okay, that light didn't turn off, so it's not doing the power for the lights. Could it be doing power for the books? Yes. Okay, that's what that thing's doing. I suggest. I'll be pretty sad if I turn this back on and the books still aren't working. That would present a problem. Okay, we're good. Ah, I see. Sorry, I was wondering what was in the background there. Those must be windows. Oh dear, I hope that's not the combination. I've got a feeling it probably is, though. Alright, let's see if I can write this down. Oh, that's not doing anything anymore. What am I missing? Maybe if I reset the power, it'll reset its internal state. Hold on, let's do that again. Okay, there's a lot more than 3 unique notes there. A lot more. That's not the combination then. Or if it is, it's encoded in a much more complex way. Very eerie piece. let's have a quick look at the combination lock again. Okay, so it just makes 3 noises. Clack, dzz, and ding. So I guess that's the noises I should be listening out for. Oh, while I'm here, let's just turn this to reset it. The recurring melody I heard in that was 32321. That one came up, that kept repeating itself in the music. No. No such luck. Okay. The thing that worries me is I feel like the game developers probably wouldn't have put that device in there that plays the music and added the sophistication that if you stop it from playing you have to turn the power on and off again to reset it, unless it actually was part of some puzzle. I can't be sure, it's possible it isn't. Yep, clack, zzz, and ding. It's supposed to be somewhere in this office. Can I interact with any of this? Hold on, let's listen to that piece all the way to the end. I can't be certain that there's not something that plays right at the very end. Then again, it might loop forever. So I don't know, let's put this on for a couple of minutes and see what we hear. That appears to be it. Right, okay. So that appears to be all of it. I don't think I can interact with it in any other way. So for the time being, I think I have to assume that that is only there as a decoration, as an ornament, as something to make the world seem more lived in and real, and isn't part of any puzzle. I Could be wrong. But, I don't see how it applies to the current puzzle we're working on. So I'll leave it alone for now. Where was the entry where he said he captured her? This one. I've got her. 8728. Late last night, I received word that Catherine was in the village, attempting to persuade the people to join her. I lost 2 good men in the process, but I would have paid 100 times that number for such a prize. She's been taken to the prison island, where I've been attempting to gain some insight as to the reason for her presence here. I've had to fight the all but constant impulse to put her on the gallows. She has adopted the most infuriating stance of only answering my questions, when she answers them at all, in her native tongue. Even so, she is a poor liar. I am now quite certain that her return to Riven was unintentional, and that she has brought no linking book with her. As far as her unwillingness to share with me the location of the moiety, we shall see. Without their leader, however, they are once again powerless against me. If Catherine's coming here was indeed an accident, then Atlas is bound to come for her. That is a given. The question I must now consider is, how will he do it? Is it likely that his hesitation has been due, at least in part, to this dilemma? One way or another, though, he'll have to bring a linking book to get back to Danae. There is no other way. Okay, so yeah, there is no combination there. That's the combination. I missed it before, didn't I? Zzz, clack, zzz, clack, clack. Okay, that's on me. I should have spotted that the first time I interacted with it. Okay, let's get her out of here. Hello, Riven 8686. It's been a while. Which way round was this? I've forgotten. That's clack. That should have done it. Oh, wonderful. We're making progress. And now I'm guessing the final thing to do is pick up Catherine, cause the telescope to crash into the star fissure, and then hopefully Atris comes through with the linking book. Bizarre indeed.
We have to move quickly. Gehn's people may already know what's happening. Once we're back with the moiety, we'll have time to regroup. Can I see the book? You did it. We're all free. You captured Gehn. But there's still his followers. I'm not sure what I'll do once I realize he's gone. I'll have to get the villagers to safety as soon as possible. You go back to the Temple Island and reopen the fissure. I know it's risky, but it's the only way to signal Atris. I'll try to make it back there as soon as I can, but don't wait for me. Don't forget, the portal combination's in my journal. Good luck.
It is mildly concerning that the trap book is some sort of tell that Catherine can detect. Yeah, I was thinking that. Probably should have said so. But yeah, the fact she could just casually look at it and knew. To be fair, we don't know that she was detecting that it was a trap book so much as she was detecting that Gehn was currently in there. Oh, she closed it. Perhaps she has no choice. That wasn't the right timing. There we go. Sure hope she is trustworthy and she hasn't just destroyed the linking book on the other side. Oh, well, thanks for that. Closing the cage again. Where am I headed? I'm trying to get to the starter island, aren't I? Which one was that? That one, I think? Yep. That looks right. Well, let's be honest, Catherine is better trained with understanding age books than we are. This is true, but I think the concern is, so should Gehn have been. And this has been undone as well. Why? This has been rotated. No, it hasn't. That is the way round it was before, because the last thing I did was the marbles, wasn't it? No, but I must have rotated it round again so that I could get round to the linking book. So yes, that has been rotated since I was there last. Okie doke. Well, this will be exciting. Let's have a quick save, shall we? Here we go. Yeah, I'd be leaving about now. I don't think I'd just stand there and watch.
There isn't much time. Where's Catherine? Where's the book?
Atris!
I don't...
Let's hope she doesn't ask about her sons.
The villagers are safely in the Rebel Age. I thank you.
As do I. You've accomplished more than I could have hoped for. You've given me back my life. The path home is now clear for all of us. This is where our paths must part. Perhaps we'll meet again someday. You know where to find me.
Don't. Don't.
Goodbye, my friend.
No. Grab the book. Sure glad I'm in the part of space that has air.
Now I understand. Endings and beginnings are within the fissure. That Riven cleft of stars that acts as both a wall and a bridge. And though I am unable to understand how, the very flow of stars that brought my mist book into worthy hands, I am sure served as a safe passage home for my friend. The age of Riven is closed forever, but the people of Riven are free. And now I am at rest, understanding that in books and ages and life, the ending can never truly be written.
Well then, that was a good game. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Frustration aside. And thank you to everyone that joined me along the way. I appreciated all of your contributions, and even those that just watched me, just lurked in silence. I appreciate you all, thank you. So obviously I'll be doing my poetry, prose, and riddle stream on Wednesday. I have 2 more gaming streams this week, which will be Friday and Saturday. Now, I do definitely want to play the next Myst game at some point. I think that's Exile, if I remember correctly. But the issue is that the new Monkey Island game supposedly is supposed to come out on the 19th. That's next Monday, and I definitely want to play that. If Riven is anything to go by, I don't think I'm going to complete Mist Free in 2 sessions. So I'm probably going to have to come up with some sort of game to fill the next 2 gaming streams. Then I will do the Monkey Island, the new Monkey Island, when it comes out, starting next Monday, hopefully, all things going well. And then once that's done, I will then do Mist Free as the next game. At least that's my current thinking. No idea at the moment what I'm going to do for the next 2 gaming streams. That's Friday and Saturday, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. Oh, Trumpet says, good job, you got the best ending. Thank you. I wasn't even certain there were multiple endings, but thank you. Mystery is more like the first Mist than Riven, more straightforward. Oh, okay. Interesting. To be honest, I think I preferred the way they did it in Riven in the end. It's just that but there were a couple of puzzles where I felt like it was a bit too open-ended, that I wish I'd had slightly more direction on, but in general I think I prefer the Riven approach. Still, Mist was a good game, Riven was a good game, and I'm sure Mist 3 will be as well when I get to it. Anyway, so that's the end of this stream today. Thank you for coming, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. As I say, Wednesday will be Poetry, Prose and Riddles. Friday and Saturday will be something, is yet to be decided. Next Monday I should be beginning the new Monkey Island game, and once all that's over with, I'll be going back to the Mist series. At least that's the plan. Yep, have a good evening too, Sigourn. So yep, to finish off, thank you for coming, everyone, and have a great evening. Good night.